In today's note, we're going to be looking at the volume of prisms and cylinders. Similar to our last notes, the provided formula sheet that you got in class will have all the formulas for the volumes of basic shapes. So volume is something that we new to this unit that we're looking at, and volume refers to the amount of space that a 3D object occupies or is enclosed in a container. So if it's a solid object, it could be the amount of space it takes up. If it's a hollow object and we're looking for volume, it's the amount of space that it can hold. Our units for volume are always cubed. So we see the power of 3, centimeters cubed, meters cubed, feet cubed, and so on. That will indicate volume. So where do these formulas come from? Well, if we look at our volume formula in our shape, if I see my base here, the base is a triangle, and if I look here, I have something very similar to the area of a triangle formula. If I look at my rectangular prism, my base would be a rectangle, and I can see in my formula, I have the area formula of a rectangle. If I look at a cylinder, my base I see as a circle, and in my volume formula, I can see the circle formula for area. And then the only difference is that I'm multiplying all of these formulas by height. So for prisms and cylinders, the formula comes from the area of the base times the height. So you don't need to worry too much about that, but just in case you're wondering where the formula comes from. Let's look at our first example where we want to find the volume of this triangular prism. So the formula is V equals base times a length, B times L times H divided by 2. So basically I'm trying to find the area of that triangle and then multiplying it by the height or the length of my object. So my base will be 24 times, in this case I'm going to focus on just the bottom triangle, so times 15 times the height of the object or the length times 28, all divided by 2. So 24 times 15 times 28 divided by 2. It's 5,040 centimeters cubed. And that would be the volume of my shape. For example 2, I have a cylinder. So this formula for volume V equals pi r squared h. Pi, we remember from last note, is 3.14 times the radius, which I can see in my circle is 4, so 4 squared, times the height of my object, which is 9. And when I multiply all those together, I get 452.16 inches squared, which would be my volume, or not inches cubed, or squared, inches cubed. And remember that the volume needs to have cubed. In example 3, we have a word problem, so we can go through and highlight some important information as we read. So Mr. Liu is packing to move to a new house. He is using 12 by 12 by 12 boxes to pack all of his things. If he rents a moving van with 108 by 60 by 72 of free space, how many boxes can he fit in the van? So if you're wondering, these little symbols here just refer to inches. So I have a 12 by 12 box or a cube, and I'm trying to fit it into a large rectangular prism of a moving van. And we know that our boxes are 12 by 12 by 12, and our moving van is 108 by 60 by 72. And I want to know how many of those boxes can I fit into that moving van. So the first thing I need to do is figure out my volume of each. So I'm going to find the volume of my small little box, which is length times width times height, which is equal to 12 times 12 times 12, which is equal to 1,728 inches cubed. And the volume of now my moving van, again, because it's a rectangular prism, length times width times height, 108 times 60 times 72 equals 466,560 inches cubed. And now I want to know how many of those small boxes can I fit into my large moving van. So if I want to figure out how many things I can fit inside another, I want to take my large space, so the large space of my moving van is 466,560, and I'm going to divide it or break it up into as many cubes as I can, or I'm going to divide it by 1,728, which works out to 270. So therefore he can fit 270 boxes into the van. So using the volume formulas that are given to us on the formula sheet, we can now find the volume of basic shapes. And that finishes the note for today.